Uh, let's begin. Welcome to the MegaMonsterCast. Hopefully, there's no more technical difficulties going forward. I am Nick. With me are Alex and Josh.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Uh, Bit of housekeeping. These two just had some pretty upsetting news about Streamlabs not working the way I wanted it to. So we're gonna do our best with both a shitty episode and some shitty news. So
Fuck yeah.
let's talk about Gunhead. Um, this is a
Why?
movie.
Why though?
Yeah, this is a movie. Like it exists. I'm
It's
I'm
a
aware.
movie. It's a movie in the sense that it is consecutive images put together in a runtime that is roughly an hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, it exists. I watched it. I know it. I know it was made. Um, you can
I
ask me what
wanted.
it's about, and I have no fucking clue. But
I
Hey,
don't. I don't think anybody here could answer that question, and we all watched it.
I was in the correct mindset when to watch this film, and I still fucking know.
yeah, this is a trip of a fucking movie. Let me tell you.
Fever
Tell-
dream, I think, is the word I used to describe it earlier today.
Hmm.
I
Uh,
I like it had good moments and it had good concepts, but it was just insane. I mean, the pacing was insane. The amount of explanation was insane.
there was pacing.
The pacing was crazy, dude. Like we
oh yeah.
get we get pacing that is so forced that every now and again we get a exposition dump from a narrator saying like, this is the plan, this is what we're gonna do. But we spend a solid 15 seconds on this man thumping his fingers on the gun of the gunhead for no reason whatsoever. But the camera's like, I'm loving it. Give me more. Give me more.
Yeah,
Like the pacing was insane.
yeah. This is. I don't know how to accurately describe what we watched. Um, I'm. I didn't know who the main characters were for like a really long part of this movie. Like,
I still
Well,
don't
to be,
fucking know.
and to be fair, I'm really ashamed that I know all four characters' names. I'm really
I.
ashamed of this fact. But
I
to be fair, by minute 25, like 70% of the entire cast was already dead.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yay, Brooklyn.
Yep. Which, by the way, I feel terrible about this. I thought Brooklyn was Nim's name for like a good chunk of the movie. I got real confused on who Brooklyn was.
It's one of the only names we see written down, Nick.
Yeah, but like it was hard to pay attention to this movie at times. Like it has such good design and it's so boring.
It's so boring and so poorly executed on so many levels. I think this is the first time in my entire life when you get to the climax of a film and it's the big battle scene, right? And I literally thought to myself, can this just be over? Uh, I
Yeah.
I was so done by like the hour mark, like, oh my god, there's still 40 minutes left. Can we please be done?
Yeah, like I
This movie felt so much longer than that.
I literally
uh
started like skip ahead 10, skip ahead 10. Oh, someone said something, skip back 5.
yep.
Oh, I don't care, skip ahead 10.
Yeah, no, like okay, so let's cover what I consider to be one of the biggest problems with this movie.
The sound design.
Not just the well, yes, obviously the sound design, but like the
The
fact
dialogue?
that yeah, no, my biggest
The
problem
what?
is half of the character, a good chunk of these characters are speaking in Japanese to English speakers who are
Dude,
speaking English back to the Japanese speakers, and we're supposed to just believe that they understand each other.
like that's totally possible. Like I had friends in high school where he and his brother learned two languages so that one could speak Spanish while the other spoke Russian to him.
Mhm.
But like that's a very specialized skill. These people were doing it like it was nothing.
Well,
So like
children
I
were.
just the children were too, right? So I just assume like everyone must get like toddler level bilingual training in both Japanese and English. I don't know. Like my brain like did not accept this, but just let it go.
Well, so the problem I had with this was Brooklyn went to school in the United States.
Beverly Hills High School. He
Yeah,
even brags about it
yeah.
later.
He talks about that he went to high school in the United States, and it's
Wait,
not until I marked down the first time I remember him speaking English.
I think he says something in English in like the first 5 minutes of the
Yeah,
movie, but then never does it again until like "You Got It, Buddy" or something, right?
yeah, like
I oh fuck, I'm confused
an
again.
hour and 20 in, he speaks English again, and
Wasn't
I
it to
had
Gunhead?
forgotten that.
I thought Brooklyn, even after watching that, was the fucking ranger.
That's
Yeah, no,
Nim.
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
How did
Fuck.
y'all get
yeah,
confused
no,
about Nim? Like you see Brooklyn yelling, "Nim, Nim, where are you?" You know, like
yeah, no, I totally
I
get
am
that.
on so much medication. I am fucked right
I
now.
don't think it was the medication. I literally think that was a genuine thing that happened because this movie like establishes nothing.
Oh yeah,
The one like I think the most established named character was Bombay, and that might have been because I swear to God that was Radar from MASH the whole time.
might have been. Um,
But what was that beret? I want that beret.
no, I'll tell you who the most established named character in this movie is.
Oh,
It's the fucking tank. Gunhead is
Gunhead.
the only character you 100% know their name from the second they're introduced until the end of the movie.
I will say that I have a slight disagreement. I agree with 99% of that statement. I just have a slight disagreement, and that is that I had no idea until about an hour and 10 minutes in that the gunheads were on our side.
That's also fair.
I
No, like
was like, I thought the gunheads were like the Terminator machines.
I get that too. I'm just saying we knew that they were called Gunhead.
I was just like when they start getting the voice of the gunhead AI, I'm like, why is this gunhead being so like cordial and friendly? Did they like reprogram? I was thinking because you prefaced this movie to me with it being kind of adjacent to Terminator, which it has aspects of that, but it also has aspects of Predator and Alien and like shitty B
Oh
and
shit.
C movies from the 80s,
A lot
especially
of
with the
Metal Gear,
soundtrack.
a lot of Metal Gear too.
There was
Like
a few aspects of Metal Gear. I don't
I
know
would
if
say
I
like the
go
Gunhead
that.
itself is very Metal Gear.
Yeah,
The
With the
I,
design, the
with the
design is
Jeep
very Metal
Wrangler.
Gear.
I'm so disappointed by that. I don't, you wanted to hurt me, you did it.
Like this movie does so many things, and I feel like it's just I feel like the creators just took like a bunch of different things from different movies and video games and stuff, and they just threw
Oh,
it at the wall and saw what they could get out of that.
100%. I think that there's at least 15, if not 18 or more, different plot lines, different subject matters being thrown around in this movie. I mean, I saw elements of like you get like the stereotypical like action hero of the 80s movie, like Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, things like that, with like this very like pseudo cinematic, almost like the Terminator 2 music. Like the music for me always took me out of the moment because it felt very canned, very reminiscent of like these action heroes. Like you remember the of Terminator 2. Like
Yeah.
it's very somber but still kind of like actiony at the same time.
You kind of went a little X-Men 97 there.
I haven't seen it.
It's a good
Anyways,
it's a good show.
Also,
I've heard only good things.
speaking of
Why are we
video
only watching
games,
bad things right now?
Dude, we first of
um,
all, we've watched almost entirely good things.
this is the first bad thing.
This is
This
the
movie
first one
produced 2 fucking video games, by the way.
it's
Say
not
again.
only that, it has a short film sequel that was
God
Gunhead
released
damn
does?
it.
years ago.
God damn.
What?
Yeah. Gunhead, they wanted to do something with this. They still want to do something with this.
I mean, it definitely has some like potential, but like I think they spent all of their money on writers on practical effects, which I'm not usually gonna complain about budget being spent well on the practical effects, but like, dude, have at least one more writer.
Yeah.
And pick a
Uh,
language. Just pick a. I was fine. I'm fine watching Japanese. I'm fine watching subbed, or I'm fine watching shitty dubbed, or I'm fine watching English. It was crazy. Like it was like my mind could not switch back and forth fast enough.
yeah. Yeah. Um, like so I had the problem was that they wouldn't pick a language. Like as far as like the speaking one language to another person and that person responding back, like I have to do that all the time at work. I get it. Like it makes
Yeah,
sense to
that's
me. Like people speak Spanish to me, I speak English back to them. We both kind of understand each other well enough that like we can adapt. The problem is this film is doing that and it doesn't need to. And if it was like
it.
making
It
some
really doesn't.
if
But
it
it really
made a
doesn't need
statement,
to because it's like it's easier to hear and translate another language. Like being able to speak to each other and respond to each other in different languages is like a halfway point to being able to speak each other's language. But like there were several characters in this that very clearly could speak both languages, but
oh yeah.
would switch between Japanese and English at a whim in mid sentence sometimes.
Well,
Like
especially like the one I had the most problem with was why is Gunhead just always speaking English? Gunhead is a machine who clearly understands Japanese when Brooklyn speaks to him. Gunhead should be the one that switches languages more than anyone else.
that is a
I
Gunhead should
think it
great
would have
almost
been
point.
always be talking in Japanese unless he's talking to Nim.
no.
That is a
Gunhead
great
should
point. I didn't even think
only
of that.
speak in binary.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, calling any language binary that isn't like written, like calling the droid speak in Star Wars binary is really stupid.
No. Like it
They're
literally
not using
says
binary tones. They use at least like everything
no.
that R2 says is at least three tones. I'm not getting into this. This is the wrong show.
No, he only goes 0 1 0 0 1 0 1.
We will fight. We will have this argument off air.
All right. So,
We'll have it now,
Jeez.
bitch.
what do we think this movie's plot is? Because I'm not really
Um.
sure. I know it
Okay.
has something to do with trying to stop Chiron from getting Tex-Mexium, which, by the way, Tex-Mexium, I love
Mentioned
it.
this up until now.
Tex-Mexium. It's mentioned in like the opening crawl of the movie
I think
Tex-Mexium.
it's in the I think it's in the first or second sentence of the opening
Yeah.
crawl, and I swear to God, the minute I read that word, I laughed.
Oh yeah. No, like it took me out of the movie immediately. I'm like, okay,
Immediately.
all right. I guess this is what we're in for.
Do you know that there was somebody in the writers' room? Okay, well there was two people in the writers' room at least, maybe one person, and he's literally staring down a burrito while he's writing this shit.
Yep.
That is the most absurd. Like I have given unobtainium shit in the past. That feels elegant now.
Oh, I'm gonna make Tex-Mexium references for years after watching
This
this.
yeah no this became an instant inside joke. Oh man, I want
Yeah.
shirts with Tex-Mexium on it for us for no reason.
Yep. Yep.
We're gonna
Oh
have
man.
to like come up with a shirt that has like the Mega Monster Cast on the front, and then on the back it's just like a bunch of symbol references to weird shit, like
Yep.
that the little crystal vial thing in this movie. Like that's an instant go into
Oh yeah.
the new design.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So
A Violante flower.
yep. So I know that this. So
Oh,
Tex-Mexium
Rose?
is what they're going for because it's like some sort of super
Rose flower,
fuel,
shut
right?
up.
Like it's a super fuel, right? If I'm remembering right.
Yeah, so like I guess let me give a wild shot at the plot summary here real quick.
Hmm.
See what the whole thing is. So there's a supercomputer that tries to take over the world
Yep.
because it gains sentience.
Yep.
There's a robot war.
Yep.
America or the humans, I guess, stop it,
They
and that's
think they
Chiron.
first. They think they stop
Chiron
it. I think it's
5.
implied
Well,
that
yeah,
they.
there's a secession uh to the violence at least.
Mhm.
Then there's treasure hunters, our cast and crew, that go around and try to find ships and other resources. They are making the daring attempt to go to the source of all of the progenitor of the war, you could say maybe, and steal its core, steal its chips and everything. They bite off more than they can chew, find out that Chiron is still alive, and apparently they just happen to stumble upon this within a 24-hour span of when Chiron is about to come back more powerful than ever. You strike me down, I shall return more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Gets the Tex-Mexian,
Somehow Chiron returned.
and somehow Chiron returns, and they also need a password because what's more computer than passwords?
Yep.
Uh, and that's kind of the whole premise of the whole inciting incident is trying to stop Chiron. Then,
Yeah.
is that kind of what y'all got out of the movie too?
I think so, but there's so many. There's like a few subplots in this movie that really throw me off. Like I have no idea.
Agreed.
Like okay, so that's like the main focus of the movie, and like
Yeah, I was trying to make it very shallow lensed so that we're gonna go over the plot summary here in a moment, or try to, but that was like the main beats. Like you'll notice that in my entire explanation, we didn't talk about the swamp creature bio droid thing. We didn't talk about 7 or 11. I
yeah,
didn't mention the little the pool in the basement that I don't know how they keep teleporting to that place, but they keep teleporting there.
yeah, yeah,
None
Yeah.
of those things mattered to the whole plot at all.
yeah. There's it's just
Look,
so
this is the first time
difficult.
Nick is flabbergasted with the subject content, not me.
It's just so difficult for me to keep track of what happened, and like part of that's just because like I wasn't like I had trouble investing myself in it, so I watched it in like a couple sittings. So I'm like,
I
yeah,
had to. I kept getting bored, man.
oh dude, it was so boring. It's such a boring movie, which is so it's such a bummer because like the
It was
practical stuff
disappointing
looks
because
good. Like I'll say this, like 80% of
they
the
did.
practical work is really good.
I thought like that's what I said. Like I know how much of the budget they spent on the practical effects, and it's like 95% of the budget because
Yep.
the practical effects were everywhere. All the sets were real except for a few.
Yeah.
Um, with really really bad green screening, but
The Bebe
um,
stuff.
The bay.
Um, but like they built real sets. They used a lot of practical effects. They used, it was really good. There was a lot of bones there. I actually liked some of the actors. In fact,
Yeah.
like there was bits and pieces here, but I just almost couldn't believe this was a Toho thing.
Yeah, honestly. Um
This is
The
like something that it's like saying like no, this is a Bethesda product. No, 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 we didn't make it. We just put our name on it. It's like the difference between like publishing and producing.
well,
well,
Like
this thing had like 5 or 6 different um production
yeah,
companies.
but here's the
you
problem is
don't
those
say.
ones are also really good. Like the next one under
Bandai.
Toho, the next one under Toho was Sunrise, and Sunrise is the company that does all of the Gundam stuff, so they know how to do mechs. Like as far as design goes, like that's where I give a lot of credit for the mech design because like Sunrise knows mech work. Like that's where the mech stuff came from. I have to believe that. And like Bandai knows how to like market stuff. I have to believe that like all these companies worked together really well to make like the visual side great, and it just doesn't make any sense as a movie.
I think there was
Uh,
probably the like you can put a lot of good chefs into the same kitchen and still have a problem.
Oh
I
yeah.
think there was just a lot of uh disparate ideas going on.
Hmm. And I imagine so we have what I think is so our A plot is following Brooklyn, which for the longest time I couldn't tell who this movie was following. But the A plot is following Brooklyn. It's just it doesn't really establish that Brooklyn is our ride along very well because
No,
we have
it really doesn't. It really doesn't even after his entire crew is wiped out.
yeah. So Brooklyn is a treasure hunter or a bandit, depending on the scene. That's what they refer to him as, and that
Right.
he's there with Bebe's crew. I think Bebe was supposed to be their leader, right?
No, I thought it was because they keep referring to like that older guy as like, well, you know what he'd say, we need to get the chips and get out. Like he
Okay,
gave
yeah.
the orders.
So yeah, but I think after he dies, she's the de facto leader. Although
That could have
that
been, though that
that falls
was in
apart
no
pretty
way
quick.
established.
I think that also falls apart pretty quick considering like how soon after the rest of the crew is wiped out that Bebe is killed, uh,
That
converted.
was yeah, that was weird too.
But I think so. The raiders, the bandits go into this facility because they want to. They're essentially just looking for as much valuable material as they can.
Well, I think they were also specifically looking for Chiron's like CPU.
Yeah, yeah. I think in general though they're just looking for like as many like valuable computer parts as possible. Like the CPU is obviously the one they're going for, but like I think they just want as many computer parts as they can so they can sell
Yeah.
those. Like they're bandits, they're treasure hunters, they're out to get the most valuable stuff, and it's just the most valuable stuff is Chiron. So then we also have the Rangers.
Which
Uh,
we only see one of.
it's implied there's more than one though, right? Like I think
Right.
Nim had a partner,
I think she had a team.
yeah, but I don't remember for sure what happened to that team. Like, are they introduced in the start of the movie?
No, they're not. We just see their destroyed um dropship.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Remember they look at it through the monocular or whatever
hmm
whatever the hell
Yeah.
they have. And then they comment that, oh yeah, that's the Texas Rangers, the Texas Air Rangers.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Like
I
so
thought so.
so like in this universe, is Texas America? Like
Yes? Question mark? Because I think this is set
like
in
did we
California,
did
right?
did they
No,
mention California at all?
Well, they talk about that's where Brooklyn's from.
Well, Beverly Hills could be inside Texas if Texas has taken over the United States.
Yeah,
no. It's just like Walker Ranger.
Oh, so this
She's
is a
just
special force of like Green Beret or the Texas SEALs
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
or something like that. Like it was really ambiguous. Like it was there was no mention of America at all, I think.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris started this shit and
Well, you don't fuck
like
with Chuck Norris.
Well,
Also, I was super happy. This is just
fucking Chuck
this is me
Norris.
being me being a little pedantic, but I was really appreciative that they didn't lean into her having this Southern Texas drawl, and like that was nice. Like we don't like this is how we sound. We don't sound like we're from Tennessee or Carolina or like
yeah,
thank you. If
like
there was one thing you could have done for me, that was it. Thank you.
I
Sorry, your time in Missouri really fixed your accent.
Bro,
no, I
bro, you knew me from my time in Nebraska, and they always asked me why I didn't sound like a Texan, and I had to explain the same spiel.
I also don't think they like I don't know if they knew it. So I'm giving like this movie a lot of credit. I think there's a lot of ignorance going into this movie. I think like there's a ton of ignorance going into this movie that they just don't know anything about American culture. Or if they do, it's like very, very scant knowledge.
You'd think that at a surface level, though, they'd go, "Oh, Texas, give him a draw." Uh, so I don't even know if they don't even have the base stereotypical knowledge of America or Texas, then yeah, I could see that argument playing out.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, there's very little discussion of American culture or Texas culture or anything. Like the fact that like the most America or Texas that we get from the movie is her Texas shaped patch and the words that say Texas Air Ranger on her sleeve.
We also
That's
get
about it.
we also get the fact that that Brooklyn went to Beverly Hills High.
Ugh.
Yeah, which is like again like cool.
Mhm.
You know why?
Uh, so
Did they also speak English to his Japanese in Beverly Hills?
I don't. I mean, eventually he speaks English for full sentences at the end.
With a very thick drawl,
Yeah.
very thick accent.
Yep. Um.
Like it's not his native language, or like not even like a second language to him.
Yep. So I'm gonna be like 100% real. I thought Nim was going to be the main character of this movie for a really for like a good 20 minutes in the middle. Like I knew that
Not a bad
Brooklyn was going to be
assumption.
important. I thought Nim was going to be our main focus for a while there, just because like she was the one that was getting development.
Well,
Yeah,
you
she
thought
does
wrong.
she does get more development than pretty much any
Most.
other character too.
Yeah.
Uh, she's also like needlessly petty throughout the movie.
Which again, I kind of liked that idea. I liked her having a character flaw because I don't really think Brooklyn gets one. I mean, he kind of does. Like he's not the most trusting, I guess, but I think that's just like it's not
Ah,
treated as a flaw.
yeah, I don't know that he gets a flaw other than he's got a troubled past and can't drive, but then I can drive.
Yeah, no, like he,
But only
for
when
a
he
motherfucker.
starts singing dun 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 dun
Yeah, what was with the
charge.
Yep.
no,
Oh
yeah, like
God.
the I felt like I was at an NBA game.
No, no, you were at a baseball game.
Yeah, I was
No, I
gonna
was
say
at a baseball game.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's right.
You were at a baseball game because at
What
some
was I
point the movie
thinking?
decides that one of its motifs is going to be baseball.
well, Japan
Is
really
that
loves
yeah?
baseball.
And like, here's the thing. I think
That's
that's not a
fine.
bad choice. Did they introduce that in the first half of the movie at all?
I don't fucking
They
remember it
introduced
at
in the
all.
first. No, they actually introduced in the first 5 minutes where they show Brooklyn's jersey.
Hmm.
Like, so
But
they established baseball as kind of a thing in the universe.
yeah,
But
but
what
does
was
he ever talk
bizarre?
about it?
Well, what's bizarre? Well, no, this is actually what's really truly bizarre to me is that we specifically get Brooklyn mentioned. I don't know a thing about baseball. I don't know why I have this nickname. I don't get it.
Yep.
And then that is and then I thought for sure when he's telling Nim this that he was BSing, like, oh yeah, I just don't want to talk about it. Go fuck yourself. We get this reinforced later though. Like he was being truthful because Gunhead literally makes the same mistake and tries to appeal to him like it's the
Yep.
bottom of the
Yep.
ninth, and
No,
he's
that's
like,
what I'm
I don't
talking about.
understand baseball. I don't get anything you're saying. Like
I,
that was insane to me. That was insane because that's the literal like pep
but,
up the hero moment.
but the thing is, though, he also clearly does know baseball because he starts doing the like da da da
Darn.
da da
Uh,
charge. Like
darn.
he knows what baseball is, and
But he's like
I would get
like
it if
he
he was like lying in that first one, and then like, but there's no reason for him to be lying to Gunhead. Like
no,
Gunhead,
there isn't. So I believed him.
yeah, no, like, but it has to be a lie because like
Happy.
I just, and that's what doesn't make sense to me either. Is like characters maintain their bits longer than they should sometimes.
Yeah, like you've been found out and you're still trying to be a bush. You know, you still can't see me.
No, it just it makes no fucking sense to me. Like I don't get it at all.
No,
Um,
either, man.
so what else?
Well,
So
The
what
the
about?
little go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so the next big thing I want to talk about is that pool that Bebe falls into, because we get like, Nim gets captured by Brooklyn and Bebe, and they're still
Well, no,
trying.
she like well they find her, they free her, they heal her, and then knock her out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that And
Why?
yeah,
And then it's immediately doesn't make any difference because she awakes.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
what did it matter?
It matters so much. There's
it,
so much goddamn green on your screen.
yep. Uh, there, it had to have been a setup conflict there, but like, I don't think it's really paid off very well after that.
No, it didn't pay off at all. That's my point. Is like you knocked her out, and like I think that was supposed to establish distrust between the two groups. We already had distrust between the two groups, and like
Like,
nothing came of it. Like immediately, the next time we see Nim, she's saving Brooklyn's life from the fucking mine.
yeah, and that's
Why would you do that if you just got hit in the face by this asshole?
yeah, and like you could make the argument that maybe she did that because hey, he's the only other human around right now. I need somebody to have my back. But
Yeah.
they don't set that up either.
No, they
And like
don't.
we're
Like
we
she
have
seems perfectly willing to do things all on her own.
and like setting up like I had to again do the mental gymnastics myself of well, she must want to keep him alive so she has somebody with her. Like the movie doesn't set that up. I have to set that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very much like the setups of Alien and Aliens,
Hmm.
or like that's a pretty common trope in these movies. Is like you get stranded somewhere, you establish the crew, you kill 99% of the crew, you find out who your main character is.
Yeah.
Fine, but that was really not. Yeah, I was doing the mental gymnastics too. Like she had to want to keep him alive because it's her best chance at survival. Was the best I could come up with.
And
I
that's
will.
fine, but we shouldn't have to do that work for the movie.
Yeah.
I will say this movie gave me like my favorite kill out of everything though.
What kill?
This is when they were fighting the actual robots
When?
near the very beginning.
Okay.
One of the
I have no
one of
idea
the
what you're talking
thieves literally starts shooting, looks to his right, sees a robot heading towards him, shoots straight in front of him instead of turning to the robot that's
about. Oh,
actually
that's how
there.
Radar or Bombay dies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Guess-
hilarious.
gets knocked into a fucking meat hook, and what is very clear, a bucket of blood gets poured on his foot.
No, a bucket of red tinted water.
Yep.
That was the worst. Honestly, of all the things, I was gonna point this out when we were talking about practical effects earlier and I forgot. But that was the worst practical effect of them all. Like
I don't
that
know. That
extremely non-viscous, lightly red tinged water was fucking hilarious to me. Also, yeah, you're right. Like the literal like, oh my god.
yep. No. I'll say so we get is the so there's this robot I called it a clam bot. I know it has an actual name.
Oh, it's a
The explosive.
Yeah, and it like
no.
opens up and it's got light inside of it.
It's an audio mine. It's a
Yeah.
literal audio sensitive mine.
Yep. And I
Why does
love
it float?
because it why does it
Oh,
open up and it's just full of light?
Because
because luckily it won't explode. Click,
Yep.
drop,
Yep.
okay,
10
that was
seconds.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that was the funniest moment in the whole movie.
I I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it.
I
I don't think it
do.
was
I think
supposed
that
to be
was
funny.
no. I think that was completely self-aware. I think that was like, literally like, oh yeah, cool. I'm whatever. Tosses it casually over his shoulder. Boom. We're not gonna talk about this.
Yep. Yeah. No, that was
But it
actually
was like
pretty
a
well done.
solid 10 fucking seconds before it exploded.
Yep. So
What is this movie?
what about that green? So I wrote down scary green water.
Scary green water.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Where?
They used a liberal amount of bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh. So my
Scary
favorite
green
part is
pad.
Bebe falls into the water. There's worms in the water, I guess.
What did they refer to them as like light worms
Yeah.
later?
And
What?
like we're initially led to believe like this kills her, right?
Yeah, which it kind of does.
Kind of, but not really.
But like immediately my mind went to like this none of this subplot like surprised me at all except for the character design, which was insane.
Dude, I love
Uh
that design. That design was great.
oh, you joking? It looked like something out of freaking live action Scooby Doo.
That's why I loved it. It looks so fucking. It was
Okay.
amazing.
Okay, fair enough. All
It
right.
was amazing. I loved that shit.
You're fired. You're in fight.
And you're
Your
fine.
judgment is now in question from here on.
Oh no, that was great. Like the way her face, like one of the eyes will light
Tears
up
in
and you
one
see
of
her
the
face in
eyes.
it. Yeah,
I love the expression she gives too. It's almost like a
yeah. She's just kind of like confused. Like you can tell, like maybe they didn't tell her what she was supposed to feel. That they just
yeah,
needed to shoot
exactly.
like a bunch of footage of her.
But what's my motivation? I want you to stare confusedly inside the camera as if you're trying to figure out what it's made of.
Yep. You're gonna
But
you're eventually gonna do something on this green screen, but like not for a while.
I
And
love
when
the I
you
love
do,
the
it's gonna
hand
make
battles where she's like,
zero. Yep. Oh, uh,
we'll get to it.
yeah.
But I want to
When
just briefly, I want to point out when we were in the scary green goo, the scary green vat. Uh, like immediately when she falls in and gets possessed or whatever, I was thinking like this has to be like a genetic manipulation, like Borgian kind of subplot that we're gonna get. Nope,
no,
nope.
no. This.
No.
Oh man, yeah. No,
This is literally just to create a MacGuffin
yeah, yeah.
because like the the Bebe squid seaweed Scooby Doo monster was not the antagonist really.
No, it was kind of just a side character that showed up
Which
a few
was which
times.
was insane too, right?
Yeah, like you would think that's super important, right? Because she's one of
It's,
the named characters, and she barely has a role in the movie.
and like you literally could play with like your feelings, the character's emotional status. Like I have to kill Bebe. This is hard. Like you're literally getting like a pseudo zombie subplot
Hmm.
along with a mystery villain that has powers you can't understand. Like it had a lot that you could run with in any way, and it amounted to literally nothing.
No, I am blown away by some of these choices because like okay, so we need to keep moving. So
Go for
we
it.
eventually after the whole Bebe gets killed, not really killed. They escape.
Assimilated,
Yeah, they escape, and we run into the next set of named characters, who are 7 and 11.
which that had to be a 7-Eleven joke, right?
It had to be.
Yeah, uh, dude. Again, this entire movie just makes no sense to me.
Like I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt of going like, okay, so they're probably children born on this island. They've been given numbers, not names. Okay, this is an interesting subplot about like maybe child slavery or like the still need for humans to be around and the other human to run the machine and the other humans don't understand it. And then all of a sudden I wrote a really more interesting movie in my head and then I had to keep watching the movie.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Like
no, like
but then I also realized like, okay, this is probably just they don't understand the culture and this is a 7-Eleven joke.
this. Okay, so these two characters, they're two children who I think they say they're like children of scientists who worked there,
Oh, I
right?
missed that plot, but I think I don't remember.
They're definitely children of people who worked at this facility. Because I think I wrote that down. I assume they're scientists' kids at this point, but I don't remember for sure.
That
But
makes
like,
sense, and it's immediately out of Aliens.
mhm.
With what's her name, Josh? What's
Huh?
the little girl's name? Much more interesting film.
Yep, yep.
Oh, aliens?
Yes. What's the little girl's name?
Oh,
I'm gonna look it up.
fuck.
Go ahead. Go on.
But now, so we get like their introduction, and um,
Newt.
I don't
Newt.
know.
Thank you.
I don't know
I couldn't
what
fucking
I'm supposed
think.
to think of these characters. Like they're the
Okay,
kids, obviously.
so yeah, I think the specific things about these characters, like, okay, this is where this was insane. Uh, one of them can't talk, but then talks later.
Yep.
And one of them has a soundboard.
Yeah.
What the shit was all of that?
It was.
Like every time this kid made like sign language actions, like weird things happened, and like weird audio things. Like he was communicating through like a radio or some like ESP device. It was super weird. Like he had a soundboard. Was I the only one who experienced this?
You're right, but like I think by that point I had just so checked out on the human element of this movie.
I was still waiting for a kaiju at this point.
No, dude, remember I told you straight up this was not a kaiju movie. This was a mech movie somehow that
I
somehow
was
wound
really
up on
hoping.
our list.
I was really hoping you were wrong.
You got the green worm thing.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's the
like,
closest we got.
I suppose. I just like every time that the soundboard things came up, that just really like if there was anything in this movie that just blew my fucking mind, it was that. Like that might have been the most absurd shit aside from him having a stroke on the elevator.
No, the most absurd shit on the elevator was Seven just fully prepared to die. And like not even like there was no emotion at all. Just like, all right, I guess I'm
None.
gonna die then.
I'm prepared.
I'm like, I've made peace with this. I'm a
But like
child that's ready to die.
I thought that he says that after they have Gunhead.
Oh yeah,
Because the time that I'm talking about is before they have Gunhead and they're going up in this elevator and he's just
yep.
going "Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh," or some fucking
Oh
noise
yeah.
like
Where
repeatedly.
he's doing
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
That
this
forgot
in the
about
was
that.
soundboard.
I could not yeah, he does the soundboard thing and then he literally does something with his mouth. I don't even remember what the sound
Yeah,
was, but
It
you're
was
right. Because
nit
he's
nit 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 nit.
yeah.
it was
No, I wrote it down because I wrote down, is he glitching? Like I thought the reveal
I
was
was
gonna.
thought he was having a stroke.
I thought the reveal was gonna be that he was a cyborg or something, and I don't think.
Right. Right. Again, all three of us wrote a more interesting movie in our head right here.
Yeah, but like, okay, so they go up in that elevator. I'm trying to remember. After that, did they find Gunhead? And is that when they start trying to fix Gunhead?
Yeah, because then they're at the level of I think they called it the robot graveyard
I
Yeah,
was gonna
yeah.
say that the junkyard. Yeah,
or junkyard or whatever. I don't
I
remember if
think
they used.
I think graveyard's right.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think now they find this, and then you get Nim being a total bitch for like a good 15 minutes.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you gotta take weeks to find the parts, months to put it together. I don't even know why I saved your ass. Uh,
Well,
which all of this makes the kiss at the end really undeserved.
yeah. No, I was good. I wrote. I had a problem with that. I wrote notes about that scene.
We'll get there, but like, I just had to. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the actress that played Nim. I
Yeah.
like the actor who played Brooklyn. They could have had good chemistry. There was no writing about chemistry up until that point.
No, there's no setup for that.
No,
No.
totally undeserved, totally unearned.
So when we get Gunhead, correct me if I'm wrong,
The
but
best character.
uh, I mean, he's the name. He's the titular
He's the main
character of the
character.
movie. But no, Gunhead. If I'm remembering right, Gunhead. They had to convert Gunhead to
Manned
a
instead
manned.
of
Yeah, like
unmanned.
this Gunhead is supposed to be an unmanned tank drone, basically, and they have to
Mhm.
convert him to a manned tank.
Right, I got that subplot too, which he does relatively fast,
Yeah.
and they like surprising that you would build an unmanned vehicle that just in case has enough internal space for a human and has human compatible piloting controls.
That's only someone with baseball skills could do.
Yep.
He
uh,
doesn't know baseball, Josh. We've been over.
yep. Um,
It's the bottom of the ninth. The bottom of the what?
so I like the Gunhead's design. I
It
mentioned
felt very
in
like
my
Armored
notes.
Core or something, right?
Yeah. Again, it feels like kind of that. It feels a little more Metal Geary than to me. That's why I've been calling it a knockoff of Metal Gear. Like it it doesn't 100% look like an armored core, just because I feel like a lot of armored core are bipedal, and it's not bipedal.
All Metal Gears are bipedal, so until it became bipedal, it was not Metal Gear.
That's fair.
How dare
Uh,
you?
but no. So then we also get we get that I had some problems with how Gunhead operates, but I mean, like, that's the least of the problems of this. Um, yeah, no,
I mean,
like,
we do get several panels around this point, both with the Scooby Doo villain and with Gunhead. We get a lot of panels that are completely unlabeled, like Star
yep.
Trek style, and that just drove me up a wall.
What drove me up the wall was how the cockpit works, just in general. There was
I
a
didn't I didn't even try to make sense of it. Please go ahead.
so I'm skipping ahead a tiny bit, but like Gunhead has two modes. Um, so when they get Gunhead into like the elevator shaft, it uses a
Hmm.
grappling hook, which I wrote down this
I
shouldn't
totally missed
work.
that. Wait, did it use the grappling hooks to elevate the elevator?
No, I think it. So when it gets into the elevator shaft, which I might be skipping some stuff here. Um,
Okay.
I no, dude, I can't keep track of some of these things anymore.
No, man, like don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, no. It uses grappling hooks, and I'm trying to.
Ow.
It's either raising or lowering itself.
But the platform wouldn't have followed it.
No, well, I don't think it uses the platform at that point. I think it's just Brooklyn inside of Gunhead going up the elevator shaft.
I missed that.
Uh,
Okay.
uh, one second. I'm gonna look to see if I wrote a note of when that happens because I started doing that just so I could keep
This
track of
this
what
movie
shit was going
this
on.
movie unfortunately probably could have used 3 watches and copious amounts of notes.
Yeah.
But this episode would be
And
6 hours long and I would have killed myself before the 3rd watch.
Yep, yep. So it happened somewhere between an hour and 10 minutes that Brooklyn uses Gunhead in this elevator shaft, and it's in like it's like walker mode for like because it has two modes, and the other one is like full on tank mode. But it uses
Well,
it,
I guess that's 3 modes then too because at one point he actually does engage standing mode.
yeah. Um,
Because most of the film we see him in tank mode, like when he's going. Actually, I think we only see him in standing mode for a few moments.
he's in standing mode. I think he starts in standing mode because I think that's the mode he's in when he goes up the elevator shaft. Because
Oh, because like when he's going through the water, he's definitely in tank mode.
yeah. Um, no, so he's in. I think he's in standing mode when he goes up the shaft. This is the scene um, where Seven is fully prepared to die on Gunhead.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we did skip over the repair montage that was like
Yeah,
8 minutes long
yeah.
and not nearly as funny as it needed to be.
gotta go
And
with
then
the montage.
and then it was absurdly funny too because did you guys catch the scene where they're strapping the tanks to or the energy cells to the side of Gunhead? Do y'all remember this scene?
I remember the second time they strapped fuel to Gunhead.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which is great because that was the weirdest Chekhov's gun I think I've ever seen in a movie. Just to give preface to what
Yep,
Nick is saying here, in the first 5 minutes of the film, we get one of the first killed characters mentioning that apparently on this island there's a store of whiskey. Why you know this? I don't know. We don't need to know.
yep,
It's
And
like
he claims that he's gonna
2001.
go get it. Dies 14 seconds later. We get the whiskey later as a Chekhov's gun because we have no more fuel. Any I can be converted to make any ethyl alcohol work. Like I just happen to have barrels of it. Uh
yeah. And I had problems with that too. I had a lot of problems with that specific moment.
we'll get to it in just a
Oh yeah,
moment. I
oh yeah.
I want to point out this one shot from the montage where they're strapping the original energy or the original fuel cells to him. They literally have a shot where Brooklyn himself takes one of the straps takes it from one side, puts it around his own body, and hands it up to Seven, and Seven straps his ass to the fuel cell. Like, there's literally a shot of him going on the fucking fuel cell. Like, why is this shot in here?
Why not?
Dude, I don't know.
That
I
will live rent free in my mind for a little bit.
maybe is okay. So again, this is me doing the work for them. Is that supposed to set up the idea that Seven just does not care about human life at all?
Well, the thing is, it's very clearly Brooklyn who does this to himself.
Yeah, but
He's
like
like, here, grab it, grab the thing, grab the thing. And when he grabs it, he tightens it, and he's like, "Ah!"
yeah, uh, I don't know, man. That
I just got to the part where he says, go ahead, I'm prepared to die.
yep. Oh God, yep. No, so they go in the fucking elevator shaft. Gunhead uses his grappling lines, which should not be strong enough to like physically carry Gunhead with how
They're-
loaded down it is with like weapons and fuel and shit. But it works because why not? Um,
yeah.
and they have to go up, so they're not going fast enough. They need to use their boosters. Seven has hopped aboard Gunhead, and Gunhead's telling because Gunhead talks. By the way, we haven't talked too much about this. Gunhead talks. He is a speaking role in this movie.
And
Um,
he's also pretty sassy at times.
oh yeah,
Like, he's by far one of the better characters.
oh yeah. Gunhead is. I'd make the argument Gunhead is the best character in this movie. But no, so Gunhead is talking, and he's like,
I mean,
"Hey,
so
so we
7.
need to use the booster, but you probably want to tell Seven to get out of the way." And Brooklyn's like, "Oh, shit! I didn't realize Seven was even on top of you." So he's telling Seven that Seven needs to get out of the way so they can use the booster, and Seven's like, "No, you're just gonna have to use the booster, man. Like, just fucking kill me." Like, there's no urgency for either of them. Like, Seven just says it so nonchalantly. Like, it's not doesn't even look like he's trying to like think of a way around dying. Just like immediately goes to, well, I guess I'm gonna die now. And Brooklyn also does not seem to care that much about killing Seven. The only one that
Yeah,
cares about it is Gunhead.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
said
Like,
ninjas try to kill him.
I'm just shocked at how much, at how devoted Seven is to this plan. He's like, yeah, sure, for the cause.
Yeah, no, this child is just 100% willing to sacrifice himself. Has not thought of any other way around this. Just, all right, I guess I'm dying now.
Yeah, there's no option to move or come below deck or anything. No, death.
Yep.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, they lived on this island for how many years?
They're like 12. Like, yeah, probably the majority of their life.
I'd
But
be
that's
over
like,
it.
but that's like 8 years.
yep. Um, so then Seven gets out of the way. They use the boosters. They get up there and they make it to the oil canal,
The oil
which,
canal, or do you mean the ammo tunnel?
oh God, is the ammo tunnel before the oil canal? I don't remember.
I don't know either, but I thought that ammo tunnel was an insane descriptor.
Yeah,
What do you have there? A tunnel? What kind of tunnel? Ammo tunnel. A what?
God.
Imagine that's what the Boring Company does, and LA is just full of ammo tunnels.
Yep, yep. Uh, no, I wanted to mention the oil canal though specifically because so
What happens
Brooklyn
there?
came up with the pathway that they are supposed to use to get to
Oh
Chiron.
yeah,
Like, he comes up
yeah.
with this path. Gunhead even talks about that he was the one that came up with the path. So they have to go through this oil canal. Gunhead
I thought it was
converts to
water.
tank mode, starts going into the oil, and immediately starts shorting out. Like, you see sparks coming off of Gunhead as he goes into the oil because he wasn't
It
designed
wasn't
to go
waterproof.
into liquid.
And like, you get Brooklyn going, "Hey, you should have asked me. You're not waterproof." He's like, "Yeah, but if and literally, I love the phrasing here from an AI. If I remember correctly, it was you who came up with this path." If I remember correctly, come on.
Yeah, no. Oh my God, that was again. That's another insane moment where it's like, first of all, you're the one who repaired him. You know that whether or not he's like waterproofed. You decided to take him through a a bunch of oil. He's shorting out. So hypothetically, this could light the oil on fire.
I didn't realize it wasn't oil, or it wasn't water because it's not very viscous.
Hmm.
But the fact that it's oil is extremely concerning, considering how much gunfire happens in this scene.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, there's so many problems I had with this scene too. Because again, he goes into the like he goes into the oil because again, it's an oil canal. Hypothetically, this is all oil he's going into. Goes into the oil canal, starts shorting out immediately. My first thought is, well, okay, so this is gonna end up with like them lighting the canal on fire. Like this has to end with that. I don't think it does, but like just and immediately, well, why'd you do that? Well, it's because it was your plan.
Yep. I think we have what we have here is a failure to communicate.
No, the problem here is they did communicate. Their communication's just dog shit.
Wrong.
Uh, okay, let's see. What else?
Uh,
Oh,
go
uh,
ahead.
I was gonna also say this also bothers me just a tiny bit. When he converts from standing mode to tank mode, the cockpit changes too, and Brooklyn looks like visibly shocked that it changes, despite the fact that he is the one that built it.
Literally, the cockpit could not have existed before Brooklyn worked with it. Like, I mean, how is this surprising?
Yeah, no, like he looks shocked by this, but he was the one that made it.
Yeah.
Like,
He's literally
my,
eating, and he's just like,
yep, yeah, no, just
Ooh,
why are
this
you
is
doing?
cool. I didn't expect this.
ugh.
But he's a
Like,
mechanic. I do want to take one quick step back
yep, go ahead.
to that because I found what I wanted to find from the mechanics or the repair montage.
Hmm.
Do you remember the drilling bit?
No.
Oh gosh, I'm
There's a
trying to.
scene. There's a quick little scene, blink and you miss it, of Brooklyn using a drill on Gunhead, and it's very clearly a closed chuck with no bit in it. I mean, and the camera follows it for a good while. But I want to direct your attention to the Mega Monsters podcast channel. I have
Yep.
posted screenshots of the drill bit and the scene where they tie up Brooklyn to Gunhead. I need you to see this,
I'm
gentlemen.
fucking
Yep.
upset.
Oh god.
I knew, especially because of our work history, Josh, that the Chuck was gonna piss you off.
The Chuck pisses me off so fucking much.
But like seriously, they play this bit out for a good few seconds where they tie Brooklyn to the freaking gunhead. Are you seeing this, Nick?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. It again, it. I don't understand what they were going for with this movie. I'm
It,
fully aware. I don't know what was happening anymore.
it was such a bit.
Yep. Uh, so let's see what else. Gosh. I'm at an hour and 11 minutes into this movie, which is well over half of this movie. I have a note that I wrote, which is I don't really know what they're doing. I think they're trying to stop the supercomputer from getting Tex-Mexium, but I don't know why they're doing that or what they're supposed to accomplish.
I think they already had the Tex Mexium. I think that
That's the worst part is I didn't know for sure.
I'm not sure because like it gets stolen from Nim at one point.
Hmm.
Did we ever get the keyword?
I feel like they had to have, but dude, that
Did they
again,
ever say the keyword?
I feel like they had to have, but it had to have been like a
Because
I looked away.
they bring it up like twice that it's like the keyword was input 17 years ago. Like,
Hmm. And again, I feel like they had to have said what it was. I had to have not been paying attention when they actually said it, which I mean, like that happened with this movie. I got bored a lot of it. Like,
well, because there was no through line to any of it.
no. Um,
Also, like, if Gunhead has to be converted to a manned vehicle and can no longer be an unmanned vehicle, how does it drive out of the elevator shaft when Brooklyn gets knocked out by the electromagnetic thing?
Well, the man's still in it.
yeah, no, it just needs a body inside of it. It doesn't actually need him to pilot it. He just needs to have a comfort buddy.
It's a moral support pilot
Oh
more
yeah,
than
yep,
anything else.
yep. Brooklyn's just there so that he can feel better about himself as he's piloting himself.
This is fully
It's
self-driving Tesla right here.
Yeah,
It
it's
can drive itself, it just can't drive safely.
that's
it's
why
like a
Brooklyn's shocked.
lawnmower. You got to put a body in it for it to activate.
Yep. No, that's why
Then it can
Brooklyn was
go.
shocked by it. Brooklyn was shocked by the transformation because like he's not actually doing anything. Gunhead's just been in charge the entire time.
Yeah.
Uh,
He does get knocked out at one point, but like quickly is revived. It makes no difference. We
yep.
do get another. We get a green screen struggle uh between Bebe and the Scooby Doo monster again, which does nothing. I
Are you talking
guess.
about the mole man guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, the best part of those sequences is still when the one eye like turns into a green screen eye and we just see her
Yeah.
confused face.
Like that shot out of Ace Ventura, the first one, where he's like in the dried out pool and he's just.
Yep.
I'll
Uh,
never get over the death of the raccoon in Ace Ventura 2.
Neither did he.
yep. All right. So at around the 117 mark, Gunhead runs out of fuel. This causes
And
him,
all hope is lost for our heroes.
yeah, all hope is lost for like 15 seconds. Uh,
Until we get a cry for help using baseball as the metaphor from Gunhead.
yep.
This was an insane pep talk.
Yeah, it was.
And
Like,
then like he fully walks away, gets the pep talk, comes back and goes, "Tell me more about whiskey."
yep. So he runs out of fuel. They go, like, they supposedly are getting more fuel. Can't fuel him up. Gunhead talks about how there's a fuel-like substance nearby, and the fuel-like substance is the whiskey.
Right.
And you can use these casks of whiskey to power Gunhead. My biggest problem with that is there is like no chance in hell that the amount of whiskey they strap to Gunhead would power it. At least not for the remainder of the movie.
Especially considering like its designed fuel or the fuel that it's designed to run on didn't power it for that long. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like
That had
this
to be
is
some seriously like Everclear level cask strength whiskey.
It's
like
moonshine.
I could almost see it if it's like if they had like basically all the casks of like a ton of casks of whiskey, like they're strapped all over Gunhead, and like there's whiskey casks inside of the cockpit or something, I could justify it. But there's not a whole lot of whiskey strapped onto Gunhead.
It's like 1 or 2 barrels.
yeah, yeah.
Also, I really want to know how you lifted those barrels up. Like you and a child lifting an entire full cask? No,
No.
I don't buy it. I do not buy it.
But yeah, so we get that. That was another scene. I mentioned
That's the
like
way to
that
describe it.
I mentioned how weird it was that like they're still trying to lean on the baseball motif because it's not well established, but then it is, and then like Brooklyn doesn't know baseball, but he clearly does. Um, and now he's
Okay.
speaking English, even though he's never spoken like he hasn't spoken much English in the movie, and he's speaking English now, and he's doing the baseball song, and I don't know what they're
Charge.
going for this either.
I had no idea what they were going for, but I will say that
The
according
kid throwing
to
up a light bulb.
an English wine cask unit of a barrel, which I'm assuming we're just going to assume that's just a barrel,
Yeah.
would be 32 gallons, and that would weigh 1/8 of a ton.
Yep.
You're not lifting that
No.
Brooklyn can.
with
Yeah.
his
Brooklyn can.
charging skills.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then we
Or the
get
fact that Gunhead probably lifted it.
yeah, realistically, Gunhead had to have done all this. They're just there for moral support at this point. Gunhead is in charge of
Yeah,
everything.
you know what? We did establish that. I think you're right.
Yep. Uh, so then they fight against the robot with like the backhoe claws.
I'm just imagining fighting a backhoe.
That's kind of what they did. It's got two claws that are like on backhoe arms, which
That
is
was an
it's dope.
absurd monster. Like that was kind of the antagonist, like in the end, because like you have the big battle with the antagonist.
Yep.
Though, what was this? Like an extension of what is it, Chiron?
Chiron. It's got to
Chiron
be right.
5.
Like that's got to be like Chiron's attack unit, and that's established at like really early in the movie. That's one of like that's out there because I think isn't doesn't it like kill some of Brooklyn's crew? Isn't that if I'm remembering right?
Did it? Because I mean,
One sec, I'm gonna look at this because I think I had a
the,
note about it
the
in this.
whiskey guy got like stabbed by a sentient rod, like Terminator 2 T-1000 style.
The one that
Yeah.
started glowing red for no reason.
Yeah, the one that started glowing red for no reason. I thought for sure that was gonna be like something that came up later. Uh, Bombay got killed by the Scooby Doo monster and a meat hook. Bebe fell in
Yeah.
the scary green water.
It's after the green water we see that because I have written as a note after that robot sword backhoe attacks.
Okay,
So that was established earlier in the movie.
I did not make the connection between that that scene and this kaiju of ours.
Again, the fact that I specifically remember seeing that like way earlier in the movie, but again, they don't do enough to establish that's our main threat. Like it's just back suddenly.
No, I thought for sure that our main threat was going to be the Scooby Doo monster.
Yeah. Well, that's because that one gets more exposure. It's still not a lot, but more exposure to us and has a more
And it
core.
actually it has the potential to have like character development. I mean,
Yeah.
it is Bebe.
Yeah. Like that should have been the main focus, but it wasn't. Um, how did? Okay, so this had to have happened in the movie, and I just didn't notice it when it happened. How is 11 full of light now?
I was really hoping you were going to tell me.
That's why I said, like, and that one kid, like, fucking ate a light bulb.
Yeah,
Like,
because
They ate
what
a
the fuck
light.
was this?
I don't remember how this happens.
I have no idea how it happened either.
But like now 11, anytime 11 opens, like the mouth opens and suddenly there's just light pouring out.
Well, there's just that, like, scene of her, like, dry heaving.
Yeah,
Nim comes up, like, to console her. Seven's over there. It's because she's scared. And then all of a sudden, she's got a fucking flashlight in her mouth.
yeah,
That
like
was so weird.
I,
And completely unexplained. So I did see that scene. I do remember Seven saying that.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that was like that didn't establish why it was happening. Like
Honestly, when it turns off later, it still doesn't establish why it happened.
no, like I'm trying to
Sh-
figure it out because that's
Like the only thing I can think of is that it's 11 being connected to the Tex-Mexium.
yeah,
She ate it.
I
She was like,
guess.
"Oh, piece of candy."
But she didn't eat it. We see the crystal later while she's glowing. The
Yeah,
glowing stops when Nim removes the crystal.
yeah.
Yeah, you saw the one they had, not the one she
Is
ate.
is 11 supposed to be a cyborg maybe or something? Like I
They
can't
both
figure that one
might
out.
be.
I can't figure out what 11's deal is, but suddenly 11's full of light. And
Like you
then
do.
um uh let's see, then they do the whole fight with the evil robot, which it's not bad. I don't feel like it's
Wasn't good.
great.
The
I had
scorpion looking one.
Yeah,
the backhoe.
yeah,
I had no idea what was going on 99% of the time.
yeah. No, like I couldn't tell what was happening for sure, but like action was happening. I don't feel like
Yeah.
it was really earned to have like the final battle sequence with this thing, but whatever. They needed
No,
something.
I think basically everything from like the minute to the hour 10 point on was completely unearned. Uh
Mhm.
wh- did I see it right that in the end of this, was there any other points before we talked about the end of this fight?
Not really. Like the fight was confusing. I felt like it
Yeah.
was really poorly shot, but like the what you could see was not bad. It's just
Yeah, like
what's
there was
happening.
bones of like being able to do practical effects to tell a story
Hmm.
there, but it was way too close and way too many cuts. It
Yeah.
was really badly directed. But in the end, Brooklyn takes a wire out of Gunhead's eye.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't even remember that.
I
It was
remember it.
so
I just
weird because I think he's on Gunhead when he does this, and he just punches out Gunhead's eye and reaches in, grabs a power cable, and then hoists one of the bigger guns on his shoulder,
hmm
plugs it into a power pack that he's got on his hip, which
Yep.
is weird, and yells Geronimo and fires it at the enemy, and that's how they win.
Yeah, that I remember that. Like you're correct on that. I didn't really get why.
No,
I,
I was hoping that would. I was hoping you could tell me.
no, like again, this entire fight
Josh,
was
explain
very
this to us.
confusing. Like the action
Huh?
itself was good.
Explain the fight to us. Go for it.
So big robot v big robot go clash clash.
It really was
Hum
like smashing two action figures together, wasn't it?
and then
Honestly,
human go get that bitch a cannon. I love me some cannons.
Why did he have to yell Geronimo? Like, was
Baseball.
that
because they're gonna attack. I guess I don't fucking know.
was that a baseball reference?
No, I don't think so. I think
I
that was
think
just
so
like
either.
I think that was
I was
just
like, huh?
I think it was just like, hey, charge. Which why not use charge? Because that's been established.
Literally, why did you charge? You beat me to it. Like, isn't Geronimo what they say? Isn't that like the famous line for uh the kamikazes?
No, that's kamikaze.
Oh, do they yell kamikaze? I don't fucking know. I was just like, I literally felt robbed that it wasn't charged, so I was like trying to pick apart Geronimo and got nowhere with it.
Yeah. It should have been charge because charge would have fit the
It should have been.
motif they were going for, but
Well,
no.
I mean, we do get it from Brooklyn a little bit earlier when he's
Also,
like when he's in the fucking tank and he just keeps repeating it over and over. I'm like, okay, I get
if you
it.
truly want me to make a like fight for Geronimo being a baseball reference,
Go for
It
it.
would be Caesar Geronimo
I don't think that's
All
what
right.
we were
from the
gonna say.
1980.
All right.
I'm
So
keeping it
we've
like
got-
that.
I don't think that's the what they were going for.
I'm keeping it.
All right.
Yeah.
So then we get to the part where the baby bio droid thingy is
Yeah, it's a
attacking
play for Kansas City.
Oh,
Nim.
Geronimo was originally used by paratroopers in the U.S. Airborne.
Oh,
Again, not earned. Not earned.
It's
No, that was
baseball.
totally that. Okay, literally, if Nim had said it, that would have been earned because she's literally Texas Airborne Rangers. Like that would have been earned. Why? There was no connection at all for that. It should have been charged. Go on.
Yep. So we get that scene um, where the baby droid is attacking the others,
So
which is technically the
Like,
final fight, but it's like such a non-fight. Um,
yeah, I
Nim is
mean,
like,
they teleported back to this room. Like
yeah,
throughout the film, we keep getting shots of this room and people getting to this same room with the scary green water absurdly fast.
yeah, and that's the scene where we get 11 for some reason trying to swallow the crystal.
yep. So they're
At
they're
least that's
fighting.
how I saw it.
Yeah. Again, so they're
I didn't know
fighting.
how to. That's a reasonable interpretation.
They're fighting. Nim is like opening fire on Bebe. Bebe's chasing them across well, not chasing, like walking at them as Nim is like backing away, shooting the Bebe droid. It's not doing anything. Then
Yeah, it's not there.
Brooklyn shows up, yells Bebe's name as he starts firing on her. She turns around, and we get what
This
I
was like
think
overly dramatic. Just bang, 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 bang.
it's the first time he's been that dramatic in the movie too.
It's so- Again, the theme of the ending half hour of this movie is unearned.
Yeah. So then Bebe, inside of whatever the cyberspace mind of this bio droid, um, grabs a grenade off of her belt inside of the mind of the bio droid.
So let's talk about this grenade real quick.
Okay.
So she's dressed in what she was dressed in this virtual world when she died.
Yep.
She's got this grenade with her that we've already mentioned. But this
Mhm.
grenade also has a keychain attached to the pin. Now this keychain is not a dog tag like you would expect
No.
if it were anything. It has never been mentioned. It has no reason. She grabs it instead of putting her finger through the pin traditionally to pull the pin on this grenade. What was this?
Oh, it's for her to determine what kind of grenade. It's labeled.
All right.
That's her virtual space grenade.
Yep. I'll take it. Sure. That's the best explanation. Why not?
Okay, first explanation, best explanation.
Yep.
Though I have to nitpick like a motherfucker here. Pulling the pin on a grenade does not set it off. That
Uh,
irritated the hell out of me.
Well, you just got to remember this is inside of her cyber brain. It's different. It works by
Then it
different
didn't
rules.
have to be a grenade.
Oh yeah. No. So
Yeah, it did.
she pulls the pin, and then her cyber droid, bio
Immediately
droid,
starts.
yeah, it turns to light and disappears.
She pulls the pin as if it were like literally you could have made this make the same amount of sense with it being an Acme TNT plunger.
Now we got to
And it
remember
would
the
have worked
entire
better because the minute the plunger is depressed, the bomb goes off. A grenade, you go dink, and then you wait 5 to 8 seconds after
Well, I mean,
releasing the trigger.
Brooklyn was firing a completely empty gun.
Yep.
We didn't even mention the fact that he fiddles with this gun like 15 times and gets told by 3 different characters that it's unlucky or unsafe to do so. I was waiting the whole movie for him to shoot himself.
There's so many
The
elements
whole
of this
movie.
There's so many elements of this movie where like there's so much and so little at the same time.
It really is quite astounding, and that is exactly how I feel about it.
Like, there's so many things I don't remember happening, but at the same point of time, I feel like nothing's accomplished with a lot of these things.
Yeah. Also, throughout all of this, we still failed to mention that there's been a countdown for a good long minute in
I
this
fucking
movie.
forgot about the goddamn countdown.
Yeah.
The countdown literally becomes the freaking ending bit. So like we defeated the Scooby Doo monster. Bebe is released into the ether of sweet release of death, and then all of a sudden we hear over the intercom, self destruct in however long, like 2 minutes or some shit like that, or 10 seconds. I think it literally says 10 seconds. So
Yeah,
like all the
10
heroes are in this scary green vat room, which of course has a teleportation portal in it. So there's a possibility they get away, but they kind of look like resigned to their fates and all that. And then you hear over the intercom Gunhed yet again saying, "I can hold it off for 15 minutes," as the countdown timer locks in on 3.
Yep.
What was that?
That was Gunhead.
That was Deus Ex Gunhed.
That was Gunhead deciding to rub it in their faces that he's better than what they need. And the fact
So
that Gunhead can just do this shit on his own again, 100% reinforces
on
Gunhead has always been able to control himself.
yeah, he's completely unmanned at this point, completely autonomous.
Yep.
Why did we have to convert him into a tank earlier? Who knows? It's not necessary to explain that element. But we get Gunhead holding off a 3-second countdown timer with his arms
Sure.
for what we assume is 15 minutes, because we literally hit like skip cutscene
Took
and
2 seconds.
and yeah, and then literally you go back to the timer, like he goes 15 minutes, and then you go, let's get out of here. Though this was weird. This was super weird. As the characters were trying to escape, as the number lingers on 3, Brooklyn's like really attached to the room now, I guess because of Bebe, and like has to get talked out of leaving. Of course, I skipped over the kissing scene before this happens, though. The next 5 minutes are so confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they defeat the monster. For some reason, Nim kisses Brooklyn. Yay! 80s movie action hero gets the
Yep.
girl.
Has to happen.
Yeah, we got to hit all the story beats. We've literally hit all the story beats without a story. They get told the 15 minutes. They try to leave. Brooklyn's like always looking back over his shoulder. He does it like 3 separate times. Nim comes in and is like, we gotta go. They finally leave. We skip cutscene. They're outside. The countdown timer strikes 0.
They're in the jet flying away on the sunrise.
Where'd they get the jet?
Yes.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. That's where.
Fuck me. That's where.
Why do you think that the countdown went by so fast? That was fucking Gunhead. Transformed again.
Yep.
Then we get this cutesy little line of, "Oh, do you want to drive?"
Yep.
That was so unearned. It was so unearned. I want to pick just this little bone with you. Why was it significant that the D's changed font in the final message?
I don't know. It was a B too, wasn't it?
No, it was just the D's.
Okay.
Like literally every time we see a D on Gunhead's screen, it has that font, and then it changes the font after sending a normal font. Like we sent Times New Roman, and then we switched it to Gunhead font.
I guess.
Only these 2 letters.
I guess.
And they were like the ending letters of words. Like they weren't even.
It's because
even, like-
Gunhead was truly Cryon, or whatever his fucking name was.
Iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's
Why
because
do these
Gunhead
things?
ends in D. That's why. Gunhead ends in D, so we got to change any word that ends in D.
So you're saying that this is literally the Metallica M.
I guess.
Or the
yeah.
Mortal Kombat K.
Or the Mortal Kombat K, exactly.
Yes, except not the start of a word, only the end of the word. Yep, that's the answer.
Well, this week we watched a movie.
Yeah, I don't.
Fuck.
I still don't know for sure if I understand what this movie was about.
We've been
Um,
discussing it for about an hour and a half, and I am still confused about so many plot points.
I'm so mad. I watched so much really bad shit this week.
Dude, I still have a really shitty thing to watch later, so I'm really upset at my week of media consumption.
Yeah, this.
At least Kaiju number 8 was good. Watch our other episodes. This one sucked. If you made it this far, we're proud of you. Stick with us.
Yep. Yeah. No, this was. This was a. This
Please
existed.
leave a comment down below letting us know you made it this far. I'll be so proud of you.
Oh yeah. No, this is an unearned. If you made it this far, congratulations. You have earned everything more than the last half hour of this movie.
God.
You get a nickel.
Yep.
You got yourself a nickel. Nickel Club.
So do we have any final thoughts before we end this thing?
Just
Everything this movie said in its
This-
hour and 40 minutes, everyone that watched it, all three of us, are literally dumber for that fact.
I
I mean,
really felt
honestly.
so much stupider.
Like, I feel genuinely. I felt so frustrated watching this movie.
The whole time, dude, I literally at one point like kind of gave up and like I usually am able to sit all my devices aside, but I caught myself like doom scrolling, like playing
It ha-
Pokemon Go, like trying to do anything else.
Dude, it happened to me too. Josh was there when I said I'm gonna stop this for a while and watch Mad Max. I stopped Gunhead, watched Mad Max for like a full hour, and then started Gunhead back up
Oh my
because
god.
I could not handle it. I told him I have to chunk it up.
Well, see, I've heard Furiosa is god awful terrible, so it's just like
Uh,
why is all media bad now?
Dude, I honestly liked part. We're not gonna get too far into it. I liked parts of it. It's not
Okay.
great, but it's not bad.
So what do y'all think? I think you might have announced this earlier, but do you remember what do you think Gunhead's Rotten Tomato score is?
Oh god, it's got to be in the 20s, right? Maybe the 30s.
48%.
I will give it to Nick. It's 28%.
Okay, yeah, yep,
Well, they're wrong.
yep. No, it's definitely lower than that.
I think I would drag that score down to at least 14. Like this had so little movie in this movie.
No.
Yeah. If honestly, if they had just done a lot of action and turned this into a music video, I at least would have like enjoyed it.
Fuck. That is just the audience score. Rotten Tomatoes didn't even give it an actual fucking score.
No, it was just an audience score. That's true. Yeah.
They can't get. We're the first people who are sort of reviewers to watch this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
Can we get a palate cleanser next
IMDb
week?
said 5.3 out of 10.
Dude. Well, first of all,
5.3?
wow.
Who needs to be beat up on the playground? I will find this person and correct their vision.
Hmm.
I got you
Holy
one even.
cow.
I got you one worse.
No.
64% of Google users liked this movie.
That is.
This is a troll.
shocking.
This
That
is a
shocking.
troll. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel so bad about this week. I actually do want to do -1 next week.
No, dude. First of all, next week we actually have like, I would say almost all
Oh,
of what you're gonna watch on Tuesday is really good.
okay, thank goodness.
Yep.
I'm dying inside.
The four Ultraman episodes that I'm having you watch, I'd say like three of them are really solid. One of them is boring, but it has a really good fight at the end. And then I'd make the
Okay, I mean,
argument
I'm fine with that.
all of all of what you're gonna watch for Thursday is good. Some
So
of some of it's
be on
gonna
the
skip ahead.
lookout for our further episodes on the Ultraman openings for so many different series. While
Yep.
my mind gets blown, and I get introduced to Ultraman in so many different facets.
Yep.
What's on deck for our next movie review once we get our illustrious pal Josh back?
So that
My
one.
favorite.
Nope. Unfortunately, Josh, we're gonna hit something with when the iron's hot.
Oh
That
God.
week, Ultraman Rising comes out.
Is that a movie of Ultraman?
Yeah, it's an
Oh
Ultraman
God.
movie.
Oh,
Ultraman
Oh
so
Rising
God.
we're
comes
gonna.
out.
Do we have to? Is this a field trip? Do we have to go to the theaters for this? Is this a
No, this is
streaming
gonna be a
thing? What?
Netflix movie.
Ah, so it is good that we're getting my Ultraman prep in next week.
Yeah,
All
honestly,
right.
that'll work out well.
Who's gonna give me Netflix?
We'll
We'll
figure
talk
something
about it
out.
later.
But yeah, with that, I will catch you guys next time.
On the Mega Monster Podcast.
Yeah, yeah.